Hi, Internet. Hi, everybody. Well, continuing Psionics. Today we're going to look at gaining disciplines for Psionics for 2nd edition for Dungeons & Dragons. Every psionic power belongs to one of 6 disciplines listed previously. Before a character can learn a psionic power, he must have access to the appropriate discipline. Psionic characters begin play with access to only one discipline. As they progress to new experience levels, they gain access to additional disciplines. Table 4 shows how many disciplines a character has access to each experience level. There you guys go. Hopefully that's all on the screen. Okay. Gaining science and devotions. Every new first level psionicist knows 4 powers within a single discipline. 1 science, major power, and 3 devotions, minor powers. With each new experience level, a psionicist gains new powers. Sometimes he gains both sciences and devotions. At other times, only devotions. A player can select new powers for his character as soon as the psionist reaches a new experience level. These new powers can be chosen from any discipline the character can access, including a discipline that was just gained. Note, if the optional training rule is in play, characters must train with a mentor until they reach 7th level. To find the training time in weeks, subtract the mentor's wisdom score from 21. Beyond 7th level, psionicists will train themselves as they pass the necessary checks to qualify as instructors. The training time for a psionicist instructing himself is doubled. Players must follow 2 simple rules when choosing new powers for their characters. Within a single discipline, the number of devotions that a character knows must be at least twice the number of sciences. The first discipline chosen is the character's primary discipline. A character can never learn as many sciences or devotions in another discipline as he currently knows in his primary discipline. So a little checks and balances going on there. It gives an example. Advancing mid-adventure. Most dungeon masters award experience points at the end of the adventure rather than in the middle. So experience levels are rarely gained in the mid-adventure. In the unusual event that a new level is gained in the middle of an adventure, however, the character should have to wait at least until he has a chance to rest and recuperate long enough to recover all his psionic strength points before gaining a new psionic powers. All right. I understand where they're going with that, especially if you have them training. So you can't really, if you're under a certain level, you can't really train yourself. You got to go train with somebody else. They're not going to be on the adventure with you per se. And even if you are training, you're in a situation where somebody could teach you or whatever, you still need to have the seclusion and the time and everything to do that, and instead you're busy surviving. So look at it that way. You know, it's a little bit different. Like you go to the cave, you kill some kobolds, you go back to the keep. Recuperate for 2 weeks. You know, sometimes, like, usually then, like it's in that scenario, I would be rewarding experience points. But, you know, it's not going to be that many. You know, you got some treasure, you got some kobolds, it wasn't that much. It's usually not going to cause a level up. You know, first level characters, even if you're doing 5e, you're not going to make enough experience points. So think about as the DM, how and when you're doing that kind of stuff, experience points, and how it's relative to the setting, relative to people training. Are you role-playing that at all? Or are you at least doing like, okay, 2 weeks have passed, a month has passed. It's now the month of Faberlaster. Whatever your months are named. And the festival of Shania has started, when they come back to the table. So, time can be very important in a game. Raising psionic power scores. A character can increase a psionic power score when he reaches a new experience level by relearning it. He repeats his studies and learns something new about a familiar power. Instead of learning a new devotion, the character can add 1 point to his power score in a devotion he already knows. Similarly, he can exchange a new science for a 1 point increase in a science he already knows. Psionic strength points. PSPs. How do they do it in 2E? Let's find out. Psionic energy comes from within the character. This energy is measured in psionic strength points. The exact cost depends on which power is used. Okay, it's kind of similar. Okay, the total number of psionic strength points that a character has depends on 4 factors: wisdom, intelligence, and constitution scores, and his experience level. Wisdom, intelligence, and constitution determine the psionicist's inherent potential. Wisdom is the primary factor. Experience determines how well the character has developed that potential. Follow these steps to calculate a character's PSP. Find the character's wisdom score on table 5, then get his base score from that. Add the appropriate ability modifiers for the character's intelligence and constitution scores to his base score. This final adjusted number is the character's inherent potential. So if I look over here, it says ability score 15, the base score is 20, 16 is 22, 17 is 24, 18 is 26, and then on the side it gives modifiers. So for the other 2 ability scores, so a 16 is a +1, a 17 is a +2, and an 18 is a +3. So you add that all up. So if your wisdom is 17, you have a base of 24, you had a constitution of 16, let's say, I would add that. That would be 25 points. But the intelligence is 12, so no bonus there. And that's how many points you have. Pretty simple. Makes sense. I'll have to compare that to how 1E did it. When we go make Gilligan, I guess. We won't mess with Gilligan again. Okay. Now, gaining psionic strength points. Every time a character advances a new experience level, he expands his total pool of psionic strength points to determine how many PSPs he gains. Find the modifier on table 5 that corresponds to his wisdom score. Add this number to 10. The result equals total PSPs gained. Example. So, we have the characterized wisdom of 17. According to the table 5, the modifier for the score is +2. So Rihanna can add 12 PSPs to her total pool. Okay, that makes sense. So what they're saying is you look up your wisdom score, and now if it has a modifier, you add that to 10, and then you get that. All right, recovering psionic strength points. The character who has expended psionic strength points can recover those points by taking it easy. Well, that was like what it was previously. This means engaging in no hard physical activity, refraining from using psionic powers. So let's see what they get. How does this break down? After each hour in which a character expends no psionic strength points, check table 6, to determine how many PSPs a character recovers. A character can never recover more PSPs than he lost. Yeah, that's the same rule. Character's rate of recovery depends on how much physical exertion. Okay, same rule. Looks like same sort of thinking. Okay, DM's option. I got a little note down here. DMs may allow characters to recover points per turn of rest rather than per hour. These rates are also listed on table 6. So let's go find table 6. Table 5. Table 6. Okay. So, hard exertion, just like on all the other previous editions, none. Walking, riding, 3 per hour or 1 every 2 turns. If you're doing the turn thing instead. Sitting, resting, reading, 6 per hour, 1 per turn. Rejuvenating / sleeping, 12 per hour, 2 per turn. So, hard exertion includes fighting, running, digging ditches, walking while encumbered, climbing a rope, scaling a mountain, exploring a dungeon, swimming, and any other activity the DM wants to include. Obviously, they felt a need to explain that. Somebody must have argued. Somebody. But there you go. I'm going to stop there. We'll pick up with defense modes and special abilities and followers. Woohoo! Get your little psionic guru new age cult going. Yeah. And then it looks like they got restrictions. Oh, looks like you got a thing about weapons. Let's see about that. And, future subjects will include proficiencies. Well, and then we'll get into this thing called wild talents. Maybe Gilligan falls more in the wild talent. We'll discuss which way Gilligan could go. Determining powers. And then, physical psychic contests, using powers, power checks. So yes, chapter 2 gets into all the combat. So we'll keep working through chapter 1 here. This is going to take longer because this particular edition is really relevant to if you want to play Dark Sun or something like that. Even if you're doing 5e, and 5e does psionics different. I know that. But I would argue that if you're going to do Dark Sun setting for 5e, a lot of stuff you can easily reskin enough. You're going to want this. And just use this as it's written. Unless you want to sit down and do the mechanic crunch, which, we can try to do that. We can look at the options there. Which means we'll have to do a video on the chapter in the 1E Dungeon Master Guide that explains dice statistics and how changing your dice affects the statistical rolls that you're going to get. And this is important when you go to convert stuff. What kind of changes are you making to the viability of your monsters and the viability of your player characters to survive and the NPCs? So you do need to understand that stuff once you really start changing stuff on your own. It's not that hard. I mean, I've done it for years. It is one of the gems in the first edition AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide. Is they took the time to explain how the dice work statistically. So you as a DM, when you're grabbing dice, have a better understanding of the odds, the risks involved for the player characters that you're assigning. Their chance of success and failure, the monster's chance of success and failure. So I think it's important to know, and it's unfortunate that the modern gaming community doesn't want to know that. Like the people designing the games do, but as players and DMs, I beg you, don't be afraid of math. Don't be afraid of game mechanics. And don't be afraid of learning stuff on your own. Like, what is the chance that I get a certain number if I roll 3d6? No. Or versus 4d6. Don't be afraid to answer those questions. Find out for yourself. But eventually I'll do a video on dice statistics and put my misspent youth in academia at a college in scientific statistics to work. Yeah, like college education. Everyone have a great day. I am going to move on to the next video so I can get that done. Bye.